Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name's GBay99. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, we're back with another video that I'm pretty excited for, where today, we're going to be talking about a subject that I have had on my mind for quite a while. I was discussing it on stream earlier, but overall, I've been following League of Legends at the competitive level less this season than any season before. That may be for a number of reasons, and that may be for a number of reasons that you think like, oh, I'm getting bored with the game, or I've just seen too much competitive League that I'm starting to get tired of it, and maybe that's true, but I want to discuss a subject that, or a factor in that, which I don't believe I've seen anyone really discuss or talk about that much before. Before I get into this video too far, I do want to say that this kind of format that we're going to be doing, where I just talk to you guys and don't do all the cuts that YouTubers normally do, cutting in a bunch of memes and cutting out every time they stutter. I just kind of want to talk to you guys in a vloggy kind of format, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, I'd love to do them. They're really fun, and they're kind of easy to make. I could easily do one of these once a week and maybe stick to a consistent schedule of that. But let's go ahead and discuss this. So, basically, the issue that I think I'm starting to have with League of Legends at a competitive level is that it is almost entirely about decision making and no longer about individual skill. Now, before you say that I'm wrong, let me say I do understand that there is individual skill required to play League of Legends at a competitive play, right? You have to have all sorts of great mechanics and everything, but currently in Season 7, whatever season we're in, we've had 7 years of competitive play, right? And in earlier seasons, players made a lot of mistakes, and you had a lot more room for strategy because of it. You could see SkyArt and Team Cypher taking the pre-reworked Nasus top lane. You could see CLG doing random lane swaps and random, Season 3 secret strategies and all that kind of stuff. And you had all sorts of different crazy things that kind of made the game exciting to watch, where players would solo kill each other all the time and there would be all sorts of excitement from it. But nowadays, for the most part, players are so good that you don't see a massive differential between players on an individual basis when you're talking about mechanics. You don't see players constantly solo killing each other over and over. If you see a player getting solo killed all the time, like Perks when everyone was making fun of him, you would make fun of him and he would become a huge joke in the community, because that's something that you never let happen ever. Like, that's something that's so unusual that if anyone does it, it's either because someone is playing incredibly well or because someone's playing incredibly poorly. And I think a good example of this would be, this is kind of cheating because we're talking about a tank here, but if you watch every Maokai player top lane, every Maokai player that played in the past, past split or something, or every Maokai player at Worlds, if you watch every Maokai player, and you see the differences between the good Maokai players and the bad Maokai players, or the good top laners and the bad top laners, you're going to see a difference in their decision making. You're going to see some people make better TP ganks, or group at better times, or split at better times. You're never going to see a Maokai player that outplays his opponent and gets a massive CS lead and denies him a bunch of gold and experience. And even if you are talking about someone like Khan's Jace, or like a Jace player, or someone that's like a pseudo carry top lane. If you're talking about a carry top laner that is going to go up against a Cho'Gath or Maokai and get a massive CS lead, for the most part, that doesn't happen on an individual basis too much. That also requires a lot of team play, and that's the thing that you see a lot of in League of Legends competitive play. You see a huge amount of team play, which is really exciting when you see coordinated teams going up against each other, but that team play is basically all you're really seeing. You're not seeing a lot of individual performance. That when you do occasionally see someone like Khan or Faker, who is so far ahead mechanically than everyone else, then it's a marvel. Everyone's so excited and just excited to see how they're going to perform, because that's something that we don't see much anymore. Now, again, this is something that there is room to argue here, and I understand that, but I think a lot of people would probably understand what I'm saying when I come from a point where I say, it feels like the majority of what ends up deciding a game isn't going to be if someone's able to get, a 20 CS lead on their opponent in lane or whatever. It's going to be how they're able to manipulate the map, how they're able to get map vision, how they're going to take objectives, how they're going to set up for team fights, push lanes, garner vision, and set up for everything. Whereas the individual performance is not nearly as important as that team aspect and the decision making, certainly not as much as it was in previous seasons. Now, that's kind of boring. and it gets kind of boring and kind of depressing when you think about it. Think about something like checkers or chess. We have AI that can beat anyone in checkers all the time. Checkers is such a simple game that we've designed computers that can conquer the game and always make the best decision. And because it's only a decision-making game and something that's very, very, very limited, we have AI that can completely destroy you in checkers and never win a game. Similarly with chess, we have chess machines like Stockfish or whatever. I don't know if we have a chess machine that's unbeatable right now, but we're coming pretty close, right? We have all sorts of fancy chess computers that can beat the best players in the world consistently over and over and over and over and over. And it's because those games are purely about decision making, so we can create computers that can make the best decisions and then just ultimately conquer the game. Now, in League of Legends, if the game is becoming almost exclusively about decision making, because there isn't, at the end of the day, there isn't too much that you can do physically. You can, use your abilities, you can use your items, you can move your character in a few different ways, but at the end of the day, that's really it. Because there isn't so much mechanically going on that it's like there's this crazy high bar that you can always continue going towards. And the game ultimately ends up just becoming about decision making. We can create computers that, I think it was Elon Musk that said at one point we're going to be able to create AI that can play a MOBA perfectly and that can become unbeatable in the same way that we've done for chess and that we've done for checkers and other games like it. I think on stream today when I was discussing this, people said that there's already a Dota 2 AI that can beat the top Dota pros, and you can see we're already getting to that point. And that's something that traditional sports don't have. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been drawn more to traditional sports this year as I've been losing my interest in league esports. If you think about traditional sports, one thing that they have over esports that's really exciting and kind of interesting is that in traditional sports, you have a really odd mixture of decision-making and performance. So, for instance, if you're talking about, you can do this with any traditional sport, soccer, the Olympics, or the NFL. I'll use the NFL as an example. If you're talking about, let's say, a quarterback in the NFL, and you're going to, what makes a good quarterback is a mixture of decision-making as well as physical performance, how hard they can throw the ball, how far they can throw it, how quick they are, how agile they are. And those are things that they can change, too, by how they want to work out and how they want to build their body. NFL players have to build their bodies differently depending on on what position they're playing. Like a quarterback has to have a lot of arm strength, but they can't be too muscular. That's actually a problem that prevents some players from playing. But anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about an example. Let's say you're a quarterback, you take a 7-step drop back, and you want to throw a ball to a wide receiver. Maybe you see that wide receiver is open, and between two defenders, a safety back here, as well as a linebacker or something, you have a window where you can throw the ball between those two defenders, and you can, maybe that's a good decision. You can make a completion, get a first down. That decision might be right, but you can still mess that up if you don't make a good throw. There's a huge host of problems that could crop up. If you make, this is called your mechanics when you're a quarterback. Normally when you throw the ball, you want to just bring your arm back and then throw it. If you drop your arm down, that helps you throw it harder. But if you drop your arm down too far, then that's going to telegraph your throw, and those defenders can get in position to make the interception or bat the ball down. Similarly, if you throw the ball too hard, the wide receiver might not be able to catch it. It might go off their hands. If you throw it too soft, the ball might not get there in time, and again, a defender might be able to make a play on it. If you end up just not making an accurate pass, then maybe your wide receiver isn't going to be able to catch it, and you're going to have a situation where even if you made a decision that was theoretically correct, your physical ability prevented you from from actually executing that decision properly. And that's something that you don't really see in esports. It is something that does happen, but it used to happen a lot more, and it doesn't happen nearly as much anymore. It feels like, again, I should probably have already said a disclaimer that I am a low diamond player and I do not have nearly as high of an understanding of competitive League of Legends as pro players and analysts and shoutcasters and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm the person that people are, I'm the viewer that is going to be, deciding whether or not I'm going to watch LCS or if I'm going to go watch college football on a Saturday. I mean, I'm the kind of viewer that maybe I am a little bit too sporty, but I'm the kind of viewer that Riot wants to have watching LCS. success. And at the end of the day, that lack of being able to see individual performance matter as much as it does in other sports and other esports even, I think is one of the issues that's really starting to hamper League of Legends for me, when it feels like you see a lot of top laners all playing the same champions and not necessarily doing anything that spectacular. That's really something that gets kind of boring. I don't know if it's as true for other lanes. That's why I got so excited when I first saw Khan coming and becoming one of the best top laners in the world and winning LCK. He was so exciting to see someone that seemed so far ahead that he let his individual play end up affecting games and winning games for his team, which was just an exciting thing to see. It was a beautifully exciting thing to see, and ultimately ended up being such a thrill to watch. Now, I will say this, excuse me, I will say this isn't something that's necessarily like dooming all esports. There are ways that you can mitigate this. For instance, I think it was Day 9 that said StarCraft Brood War was an interesting esport because if you watched even the best players of all time, the best Brood War players of all time playing against each other, and you watched two players go head to head, you would still see shit go wrong all the time. There is so much going on in Brood War, and it's such a difficult game sometimes that you have shit going wrong all the time. You know, a player's getting supply blocked, a player's not realizing they're being attacked, a player's forgetting about some medevac drop or something, harassing drones in a base. And like, players are not always playing perfectly. It's very difficult to play the game absolutely perfectly, if not impossible. And that lack of, the fact that people can still make mistakes and everything, that's something that's really exciting and opens up opportunities. And it means that there's a theoretically like unreachable cap to becoming the perfect mechanical Brood War player, similarly to how there is theoretically an unreachable cap to how fast a person can run, or how hard someone can throw a ball, or how strong someone can be, and all these sorts of things that you might see in traditional sports. I mean, this is something that I really wish we would see a little bit more of in esports. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee might actually be another great example of this. Melee is a game that's been around for 15 years, and it's been around for 15 years because there are so many mechanics and so many technical plays that you have to learn to play the game at a high level that it's almost impossible to play the game perfectly in a similar sort of way to Brood War. You have so many things going on, and again, it's sort of similar to traditional sports where, I guess fighting games in general, you might make a decision that could be right or wrong, and it's kind of going to depend on you reading your opponent, if you're going to expect your opponent to block or if you're going to expect your opponent to try and defend in a certain way, and then you can set up for how you're going to decide to approach them. I mean, that's something that's really interesting and something that it might be exclusive to fighting games. I don't know if you see that kind of level of mind games on basic individual plays that can make decisions right or wrong based off of who you're playing against. I don't know if you see that in any other esport, but overall, I do think there are ways that someone can, or that esports in general and League of Legends as well, can overcome some of these problems and issues I'm talking about. And again, I do want to reiterate, I am not some sort of expert on League of Legends. Pretty good. Diamond 5, low diamond. Good, quote unquote. But I think that this is something that maybe this is one of the reasons that LCS viewership is declining. And maybe this is one of the reasons that we don't see quite as many people watching esports as we used to, or League of Legends esports as we used to, or we don't see the explosive growth anymore that we used to, at least. That's something that it's kind of been on my mind for a while, and you can feel free to disagree with me and call me wrong, and I might be very well wrong, but I do think this is a factor. And whether it's a really big factor or something that really matters at all, again, maybe right or wrong, but if there are other people that think this, and if there are other people that are getting turned off by League of Legends because of this, then maybe they aren't all going to watch NFL games, or they aren't all going to watch the EPL or Bundesliga or something. But I mean, Riot, you kind of do have to cater to your audience and making sure that your spectator sport is exciting for the spectators. And that's something that I do hope gets fixed. I mean, I love League of Legends. I have so many great memories from League of Legends esports, and League of Legends esports is how I found out about League of Legends at all. So it is something that I would love to see. I would love to be enamored with League of Legends esports as I used to, but I don't know. I do think there are some things that are holding me back and drawing me more towards traditional sports on my Saturdays and Sundays. So we'll have to see. I hope the finals. I think the finals are about to start in like an hour or so. So I'd love to see a great finals between SKT and Samsung Galaxy. That would be awesome. It would be cool to see. Hopefully, you guys are all going to know the outcome of the game by the time you watch this video. Hopefully, we had a great series, and maybe that series will prove this video wrong. Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, I hope you guys all enjoyed watching this video. Leave a comment if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. But anyway, until next time, thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.